everybody. It is time for a great chat. I have three fantastic women with me today. Great actresses, fabulous acting coach. And thank you all for being here. Holly Gagnier is here. Welcome.
Gagnier.
I've already said her name.
Gagnier, there's no
Gagnier.
in there.
Katelyn MacMullen, who you know as Willow General Hospital, and Avery Pohl. So nice to see you, formerly Esme Prince on General Hospital. We have so much to talk about. And first of all, have you all seen Katelyn's performance today?
Yes.
I haven't. My God, am I in for a treat?
Yes.
No, I'm kidding.
You're in for a treat. But I want to just start by saying Holly is just one of the top acting coaches, as you guys know, in Hollywood, probably anywhere. And, you know, we all first loved you as Ivy on Days of Our Lives, Cassie in One Life to Live, and then you came back to us as Jennifer Smith on General Hospital.
Yes.
So what was the decision on the transition? Do you like getting out of acting, or did you ever get out of acting?
Oh, no, I'm retired from acting. We can talk about this later of what the impetus for that was. But I was just as a second gig, I started teaching in between acting jobs at a very prominent school in LA. And then there were students that wanted to be coached on auditions. And about 30 years ago, it just segued into teaching and coaching while I continued to act. And it just... every time someone would book a job, their reps would then send me other clients, and it just snowballed. So I continued to do both up until a while ago. Although recently, Crystal Chappelle pulled me out of retirement to do Venice, the series, and I was really excited. She asked me. I was nervous, but I was excited.
And Kaitlyn, how did you first come to know Holly? And then I guess just in a broad stroke, how she has, let's say, improved what you've been able to do on General Hospital as Willow.
Oh, wow. Okay, so first I met Holly because when I first moved to LA, I signed with a commercial agent, Alex Fox, who I love. He's not with us any longer, but he was the best. And he was like, you need an acting coach. And so he sent me a whole list of options, essentially. And Holly's name, she was the only female on the list. And for some reason, and I think intuition, I was like, I'm going to go with her. So I went to her house one day he got me an audition for a guest star spot on this show called Sin City Saints on Yahoo. And I had never really acted before, and so it was just a testament to Holly because I went to her house and we worked on this audition, and she gave me a really fun way to approach it, and then I booked it. But like, there's so many people who like book their first audition or whatever, and then of course I didn't work for like 2 years after that, but I
Well, no, you went back home. You went back home for a minute.
I did. I went back to college.
Yeah.
So one thing. Yeah,
but it was a great experience because she made me feel so capable on set and like doing something I'd never done before. And so I did move back home. I came back and I was like, okay, I think I'm going to give this acting thing a shot. And she had always said, you know, come to Playhouse West because that's where she teaches. And then I went there, and she and Robert Carnegie taught me everything that I needed to know to feel confident going into a General Hospital audition, which then I coached with Holly on. And then she gave me a really unique, amazing way of looking at the scene in a way I never thought of. And then I booked the job, and I think they really actually strictly wanted me to coach for the first kind of stretch of it. And then, of course, as I coached with Holly and everything, we were kind of co-creating the spine of this character. And I just didn't ever want to do a scene or anything with this character without Holly's take on it, because she has such a beautiful way of looking at a script and coming up with something so unique that no one would ever think of. And she's just, I mean, what I can do on the show, I honestly attribute to her because she gives me so many ideas to work with. I look at a script and I'm like, oh yeah, this is interesting. And then I'm like, what do you think of this moment? And she'll be like, come up with this incredible idea that I never would have thought of. So
yeah, but it is a collaboration. Avery will attest to that too. It's collaborative. If you weren't talented, it wouldn't turn out the way it turns out.
Well, Avery, and Avery, how about you? How did you come into the world of Holly? And was this during Esme or before or after?
So I booked GH, and the first email I got after, like, hey, welcome, was sent to my agent and managers at the time, and they were like, you need to get a coach, go to Holly. That was the entire email. No other options, no anything, just go to Holly. And I was like, okay. They said the first year, work with Holly at bare minimum. And I met with her, and we sort of, like, especially in the beginning, getting a new character on its feet that nobody had seen yet, like, it was really important that we came in with a clear perspective, even though we didn't know exactly where Esme had come from. We had very little detail. So it was really fun. We got to sort of, work together and create her from the ground up. And obviously, like, that's a testament to writers as well. And we all sort of got to, like, make choices and influence each other and see where she would go. But yeah, I never left. I continued to coach after the first year. I was like, why wouldn't you when you get such amazing ideas from Holly? And, like, she's fun, and she's also sort of like a second mom. She's also guidance built in with coaching in this.
And then the three of you became like your friends now.
Oh yeah.
Like, you're like we'll go hang out, right? And you'll be like, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I'm also very, very, very protective of them. I think the fans, I love all you people that watch. It's incredible. But sometimes they forget these are actors, and they're given what to wear, how to look, what to say. And I'm sure the fans see my face popping up and I say stuff, because I'm protective. And while it's an open forum for everybody to, talk about the shows and stuff, these people have a job, and I'm protective of the job they're doing, which is amazing, and the amount of work they've put in. But I think sometimes it gets a little extreme, especially the type of role initially with Avery. I mean, God, the online hate. There were days I had to say, don't go on the internet, because it really, I would get crazy. And then in recent months, I've had to say to Katie, just don't look.
I'm so old that I remember the time, we didn't have social media. That's not how we ever. So we didn't have that kind of, I'm behind a keyboard, I'm going to just say, feedback. There's good and bad to it, right? There's good and bad to it, because this medium is very unique. There is a connection between the fans, the actors, the characters, a very unique medium. It's not like, doing a film, as you guys know, and then you're done with that film and that's it. And there's not that huge bond of good or bad, over years of watching the character. So I want to get into some of your scenes there. Everybody's talking about the scenes today, and we'll want to talk about how you approach them. And Kaitlyn, I mean, come on. Like, I was just so happy that, what I thought was going to happen was,
I thought you were going to marry him.
I did. I thought she's just going to be glass-eyed. Here's what I thought. Yeah, she's lost it. She's lost everything. She's now just going to force him. She's going to marry him and be awful to him and drug Michael and do it herself and lock him in a thing. And that's what I thought was going to happen. So then I did. So then she finally lets him have it. She walks away from him. And I thought the scenes were so powerful. And I guess I want to know, do you get nervous knowing this is the big moment? Like, this is a big moment. Like, everyone's been waiting for Drew to get his, and for her to finally get a clue, right? This is a big moment. So what was that like for you going into it and approaching the scene and then working with Holly on it? I'm assuming you worked with Holly on it.
Yes, oh, definitely. Yeah. Yes. It was definitely nerve-wracking because, like you said, there is this special bond with the audience, and you are aware of those scenes that you get where you're like, okay, the audience has been waiting for this. you know, I needed to show up and be my best, because I want to, if there's any moment I really truly want to give to them, it's like in this moment, because they're kind of those reveal scenes, or just, I guess not a reveal, but you know, along the lines of a reveal, or when a story kind of climaxes. And so I was definitely nervous. I definitely called Holly and I was like, what if I don't, but what if oh, I'm feeling kind of, and she's like, that's exactly how you should be feeling. And I was like, okay. And she'd be like, go have fun. And I'm like, all right. And yeah,
You did like a check-in before you went to the stage?
Oh,
Oh, I
yeah.
called her.
I love that. Okay.
Both these
I
girls.
agree. I'm like,
There's
okay.
always check-ins. It's very mom and
Check-in.
daughter.
It's
Yes.
But I do want to chime in before Katie finishes, because she said I want to bring my best. These two actresses always, and I mean always, professional, show up on time, ready. Their best is always their best. They're that good. They're that good. But go ahead, Kate.
I'm trying to remember exactly how when we first saw the scripts, we were both waiting for these scripts, because we also don't know exactly what's going to happen. So we were like coming up with our own theories, and we were like, I wonder what's going to happen next. And then we got the scripts and we were like, oh my gosh, this is so great. And so I think we just broke it down, you know, kind of moment to moment, what it meant to get this information, how far we could go with it. And I think Holly had said, you can't go far enough, you know, like you really can't.
And no one can say, no fans watching can go, well, if that were me, how many people's mother have slept with their fiance?
Never have I ever.
Day, like you can't, you know. So one of the things that's so funny, we had the ultimate payoff yesterday, because at the end of that show, when she's just standing there, I said, look, I want you to go watch Sissy Spacek and Carrie. I want you to go watch Vivian Lee at the end of Streetcar. I gave her all these things I wanted her to watch. And then all the internet was, Carrie, I see the end of Carrie. And I said, I was like, my work here is done. Yes, exactly what we were going for. And everyone picked up on it. And that's always really fun when the audience taps into what we set up.
Yes, they did such a great job of like, and also just like a big thank you to the audience for, I've gotten some messages that have just been really meaningful. And I just want to say thank you, because that's always really nice. But it's also, yeah, it's always funny when we come up with something that we're like, I don't know if anyone will pick up on this, but we just kind of want to have it like subliminally happening. But so many people picked up on, like you said, the Carrie reference and certain things that we were kind of
fantastic.
Kaylin's performance has been Emmy-worthy. Friday's episode and today's, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I was going to say one thing too. You got to take me through. So they have the whole thing happens at the wedding. And then, of course, she shows up and they have the makeup smudged on her thing. She's looking deranged. And they're like, I need children. So clearly she's not okay. She's thinking, I've let go of Drew now. Now I'm going to get back to my kids. But she looks like a mess in the wedding dress and kind of like off her rocker.
Yes.
True. Yes.
True. Okay. Yes. And that's kind of exactly, I think, the life of it. Sorry, my cat might jump up onto the desk and you can say hi to my cat. But yeah, it's kind of like, I think Willow's in a place of, after the wedding, there's been so much shock and trauma in this moment that she probably thinks, yeah, it's time to go see my kids now. But is she ready? Absolutely not.
Right.
Yeah.
I know. Can't wait for the next. Oh, there's your cat.
There's my cat. Sorry, guys.
My grandchild, Astro.
Exactly.
I've got to talk about Avery. Congratulations.
Yes, included.
Emmy nomination.
Yay.
Thank you.
Now, am I understanding that? So what was on your reel? Because I had my Daytime Emmy nomination show. You weren't able to make it that night. And I'd like to know what was on your reel. And then were those scenes that Holly worked with you on? Obviously.
Yes. Holly worked with me on those scenes. So it was a scene with me and Spencer where I accidentally call him Spence and then go to leave. And then it was the scenes where I found out that Spencer took Ace away. And then it was some stuff for my final episode. So it was a pretty compact reel, like maybe 9.
This episode?
It was that episode. I don't think I used that scene, but it was definitely stuff in that episode. The fun stuff, yeah.
Listen, I'm such a big fan of your work. I literally thought the way you delivered this character was very different than we've seen a lot of villainesses or psychos or whatever you want to label them. You know, she had such an attitude, and she was so, she was very calculated. Right? So is that how you saw her? Or?
I just think the best way I could describe Esme is someone who has a very firm opinion on everything. She knows what she likes, she knows what she needs, she knows what she doesn't like and who she doesn't like. And I think that there was a natural sort of calculatedness to her, but at the same time, knowing where it all stems from and her lack of support growing up and her, in some ways, fear. Like, I think it's all defensive and deflective, and that's what made Esme, at least in those, first several episodes, or not several episodes, but about the first year, until you get to sort of like know her more and uncover more. Yeah.
So bad people don't think they're bad.
No.
They're completely justified in what they're doing. So that's what makes the absolute, especially Daytime, the best characters ever were the ones that are like, I'm completely justified in this. Amazing.
It's so fun too. Just, you get to, any sort of feeling you've ever had in your life, you get to take it through. Esme's like, I'm going to do this today. And Avery feels really fun about that.
What was it like with Nicholas Alexander Chavez and in these scenes? I mean, how was he as your partner? And my God, this was such an epic story. You know what I mean? Such an epic story to play.
One of my favorite things about working with Nicholas is, like, Holly and I would obviously prep whatever we needed to prep ahead of time. I would get there and he would have the polar opposite idea of what I thought.
Because I was also working with Nicholas.
That's what I wanted to know. You were, right? So how's that for you, Holly? Then you're working with
It's fantastic, because I don't want her knowing what he's going to do, and I don't want him knowing what she's
right.
We've got the puppeteer here.
Yes.
Yeah. So they were phenomenal together. I was always surprised when Avery didn't get nominated prior, because I just thought she was so phenomenal.
So what was it? So when you found out you were nominated, what was your reaction? What happened? Because I didn't get to. Were you?
I got an email. While being in Allie Mills' New York apartment. So that was very special in that since she's nominated this year as well, I don't know, I felt like I got to really share it with her, which was really, really cool. I called my mom and dad before the news dropped. I remember calling my dad's office line. I was like, Marie, can you get Dr. Pohl? And she was like, he's busy, like, with a patient. And I was like, tell him I'm so sorry, but really good news. And so, yeah, that was it was just really fun. I couldn't believe it. My brain was melting. It's the only way I could sort of describe it.
I mean, it's so well deserved. So well deserved. And I was going to say, where do you think Esme is? I don't think she's dead.
Oh, no. She can't be dead. There's no way.
She's not dead. She's coming back. She's coming back at some point. She has to.
Of course.
I don't know or have an answer to that, but, like, yeah, she would swim. She would keep on swimming.
Right.
So I always laugh, Avery, thinking of the day when, like, the nominations were out, and I, like, looked at my phone and I was half asleep, and you sent in a FaceTime, and I clicked on the FaceTime and I still had, like, earplugs in my ears. I was like, congratulations! Oh my God! And you were like, do you have earplugs in?
Yeah, we got a call between Jacqueline, who plays Blaze, Katie, and I, and it was a very fun, like, Jacqueline's in the airport, I'm in New York, Katie's waking up in Hollywood. It was really fun.
Holly, what's it like for you to see the success of these actresses, these younger actresses that you've worked with, or any of the students that you see? And I want to just clarify, you've worked with many, many people that the fans that are tonight that have
Not just daytime people, but for sure, as far as Emmy nominees, Anthony Turpel, Rain Edwards, I believe she was nominated twice. Felicia Cooper, I don't know if she was nominated. A lot of daytime people. I mean, I have a lot of clients, but daytime has such a special place in my heart because it was such a huge chunk of my 20s.
Like that?
Oh my God. Look
Yes.
at the hair.
Let's go.
Oh
Let's
my
go.
God. Look at that hair.
Days of
My
Our
God.
Lives, Ivy, do you love it? That's amazing.
My daughter haunts me with, she'll find stuff. Oh my God. She'll find things on the internet and send them to me. And I'm cringing because your whole life, I mean, I was 24, I think. I mean, that's over 40 years ago. So your whole life is online, and you're in these cheesy movies. Someone just sent me this dance movie I did when I was a dancer, and I forgot I was even in it. And I was looking, and they sent me a photo of all of us and we were cheerleaders, and I was just like, this is cringe 2.0 cringe. Like, it was just so bad. But I cannot tell you, I think I get more excited, partially because I know how great it feels to be acknowledged, especially by your peers. But I get more excited for my clients than I would back when I would book stuff for myself. I can't quite explain it. I think it's the mom thing. Like, I've fallen on my knees in Target sobbing where my poor daughter thought someone died. It's because someone got a nomination or got a job or booked a movie, like a big movie. And I'm like, she's like, gosh, Mom, you gotta stop doing this. You're freaking me out, But it's absolutely thrilling, especially because they're just on their way, I couldn't be more proud. It's exciting, and they're just at the beginning. I mean, these two have massive careers
ahead of them. I was just to stay on you for a minute. Tell me about working with Robin Strauss.
Oh my God.
Robin and I are very close, actually. And I loved you as Cassie when during, because One Life to Live, you guys, was my ultimate show. Like, that was my show. And I was crushed when it got canceled. But that's when I watched Holly and Days, but of course I remember you with Robin. Can you talk about working with Robin?
Well, when I first got on Days, my grandmother was like, I don't understand. Why can't you get on one of my ABC stories? She was from New York. She was so mad. And I was like, Nana, you get what you can as an actor. And then I went straight from Days to One Life to Live. And that, I mean, I loved it at Days. I'm still friends with Christian Alfonso, is a very dear friend. I'm friends with many, many people still. But boy, moving to New York, Robin, Erica Slezak, Patricia Elliott. I mean, I'm going to start crying because I was Katie and Avery's age. And they literally, they just were in that same boat of being so protective and incredible actresses. I would just be awestruck at how brilliant every single one of them were. And I mean, Robin, I became very close with her. She came to LA, and my mother adored her. She would come to my families for dinners and whatnot. And then on Twitter, we would communicate. And then I got rid of Twitter because I couldn't stand what was happening to my people. So I was like, I can't even read it anymore. So I don't have X anymore, or whatever it is. But I literally am choked up right now. I adore her. And another perfect example of someone's character and who they are in real life being so drastically different. When people just assume, they make assumptions. Like, look at Cameron Mathison and Cynthia Watros. Cynthia Watros is brilliant. And like, they're both so polar opposite. in life than they are as their characters. And it's such a testament to their talent. They are killing it right now. And absolutely phenomenal.
And then you were Jennifer Smith with Tony Geary and Jeannie Francis. Like, come on. This is like...
that was one of the scariest moments of my whole career. Mark Teschner, Mark's one of my best friends. And I kept acting, but I hadn't done daytime since 1989 or something. And I got a call from Mark. I was picking up my daughter from school, and he said, "What are you doing tomorrow?" I said, "Nothing. Let's get lunch." He said, "No, what are you doing tomorrow? Because I need you to work, because Sherilyn Fenn was supposed to do this role, and there was an emergency in her family, and Frank wants you to do the role." And Frank Valentini and I started One Life to Live at the same time. He was the executive producer's personal assistant, getting him coffee, getting him laundry, and worked his way all the way up to where he is. He's the hardest working man in Hollywood, because people don't understand how hard daytime is. And he said, he wants you to do this tomorrow. I was like, I don't. He's like, "Holly, you're doing it." And so the script came, and I'm not exaggerating. The first script came, and it was about 60 pages. And I had to be there the next morning. And I was working with Tony Geary and Jeannie Francis, who they were my, my gold standard, as was Robin, Erica, Kim
the
Zimmer.
best.
I just felt they were the gold standard. So I was freaked out. So I stayed up till like 2 a.m. memorizing, because you have to memorize so much. You're not paraphrasing. And then I had one of my students come over at 5 a.m. to run it with me. And then they had me get to set at 7. And Tony and Jeannie were beyond lovely, and they said, "We will run this with you as much as you want to run it," because then they had us go last, so I had time to run it. But Tony had all these scenes with Jonathan Jackson, and is that his name, Jonathan? Jackson. He had all his au revoir scenes with him, and I just kept looking at Tony going, how is he remembering all of this dialogue and then doing it with impeccable acting? I was awestruck, because I'm around a lot of very big actors. When you do a film, you're doing maybe 5 pages a day, maybe. These guys are churning out a 1-hour episode every single day. It's astonishing. So I was terrified, and then I really forgot how much fun it was. And then, just to say something, and I won't bring it up again, I had the COVID vaccine, so I had some very severe reactions to the vax, because I'd already had the original COVID. And so when I went back to GH, I had a very severe reaction to the vaccine, so I was on medication, and I had severe tremors. And there was a lot of online, really vicious stuff. And that was when I stopped acting. That was when I retired. I read those comments, and it was really brutal for me. And I thought, I'm not going to recover from, what's happening to me and how I look. And I really panicked. And obviously, I made a full recovery, but it was rough. So that's why what was sad about it was I had so much fun. And then Crystal Chappelle was the one who was like, "You're doing this for me." And I had a lot of fun with her. And then lately I kind of started up again. So Jennifer Smith is in jail. Hopefully she'll get out. And
you'd be okay with her getting out and coming back.
The fans will be a little nicer to me this time.
You know what, though? It's like taking the Band-Aid off. I say this when I started my music again. I had done music for years, and I started out as a singer and a songwriter and as a musician, and I thought I was going for a record deal. That is what I wanted to do with my life. And I tried for a long time in my early 30s, like in my 30s and 20s, and it just wasn't happening at that time. It was too painful to like mount the shows and try to get a deal. And the business side of it was so awful to me that I put it away, and all I wanted to do was sing. Thank God, like 7 years ago, I finally lifted that Band-Aid, and now I'm back into the recording studio. I feel, I'm doing that. So I'm just saying to you, Holly, like I had my own version.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have their moment, whether it was the impetus from an outside source or an internal source. And, I don't think people mean harm. I'm just really trying to advocate that, the social media is, you're at home and you're just typing and you're having a forum. And sometimes you don't think about the ramifications of
David Holly is Jennifer Smith. There you go.
I really had fun. And then oddly enough, I just did Teddy Corday is embarking on a filmmaking career. And he called me and said, will you play a mom in my project? And I was like, okay. So I'm back out there again. I'm having fun. I'm doing it for different reasons now. And I'm not trying to chastise anyone. Like I said, we love the fans. There'd be no show without them. I'm just saying, maybe think before you type. I'm so protective of all the actors, and it's not something a lot of people address.
Gotcha. I wanted to ask. There's some comments here. I love Cameron Mathison as an actor and a person. Unlike most H viewers, I've been loving him as Nasty Drew.
Me too.
I've seen him play a bad guy, and he's killing it. Kaitlyn, talk to me about working with Cameron in these scenes and how it's like to do the scenes with him when he's such an unlikable person that we all want to throw a TV at.
Well, that's just a testament to how amazing he's doing. Like he surprises me and impresses me every day. He is so, first of all, on just a human level, he's so kind, so wonderful. I'm sure you've heard like other people.
I know. He's great.
He's great. Truly phenomenal. And then obviously his work is just incredible. Working with him, I feel like I learned a lot from working with him because he's been doing this for a while and he's so incredible at it. And he's so kind to me and supportive and always makes sure that I'm feeling okay and that he's very, very much an incredible scene partner. And so it's been cool to navigate this storyline with him because we both have been like, what is happening next? What are we doing? And we've kind of had to like dive in together. And so I feel very, very grateful that he's.
I mean, do you guys ever have finish the scene and go, huh? Do you guys laugh?
Oh yeah, we've had moments where we're like,
right?
We just did that. Okay. Well, we did that. All right.
The one I want to know about that I was, because you never see Drew like this. So he understands now that Willow's behind moving Sasha's baby around and getting the baby out of town. He's figured it out. And he sits down, right? And he says, where were you on the 4th of July? But he kind of knows.
So because I don't know what else is happening in his scripts, but to me it appeared that he is maybe onto something.
Right. That's what it played to us. He's on to you, onto Will. Yeah.
And I don't know
if he's gonna like lord it over your head, like bribe you with that information.
I'm thinking he's got that info.
Yeah.
He's gonna have to hold it over her head.
Yeah.
She's still gonna marry him. I know it. Okay. Willow doesn't need to turn bad. She just needs to get a backbone and stand up for herself. The character has been clueless and ignorant for too long. She needs strength and nuance. Do you feel she's been clueless and ignorant for too long, Kaitlyn?
Look, I love Willow. I will defend her. I will defend her forever. She has had her clueless moments, certainly. There's been some stuff that's gone under the radar, her personal radar. But that's the character's journey and where she's at right now.
But haven't we all known that person who has poor judgment and everyone can see it but them?
Yeah.
And Willow's character was so kind that she was the perfect target for somebody like that,
Yeah.
And then I'm hoping you snap out of it too.
A quick question on this. So the courtroom scene, the two of you, Holly and Kaitlyn, working on the courtroom scene where she loses custody. The judge, the corrupt judge, has told us that you've lost custody. And then this is the first time we've seen her really just, oh my God, like have a meltdown. So to us, I think some of the audience is like, okay, is she flipped into another alter? Is there multiple personalities? She's losing it. Like, how did you guys, are we just all nuts and we're building that into what's going on?
No, I mean, because anything is possible, right? So like, we don't even know, but I mean, when we saw that script in particular, I think, I'm trying to remember exactly. I think Holly said just, you're gonna lose it. Like, you're just gonna have to, like, you lose it in this moment because you've officially lost everything. And so I think on the day too, I was kind of like, oh, and she's like, have fun, it's gonna be great. Yeah, it was one of those moments where, like, those courtroom scenes feel so big to me in my mind, because obviously there's like a verdict reached and there's something, it's usually painstaking.
Or a small thing like you're delivering a baby on the floor, just that.
Yeah.
Well, there's such mixed emotions, right?
Yeah.
You're not just crying, you're not just angry, you're literally panicking, and that has to read, with Avery and Katie. I'm not so sure if the writers like get my little subliminal moments, but like we lean into stuff. Like, for instance, I said, I don't know if it's going to happen, but I said to Katie, okay, you were in a cult, you married a guy falsely, and then you had an affair with this other guy and married him, you had cancer. I said, the only thing you haven't done is lost your marbles. So let's lean into you being like starting to lose it. And everyone's writing, she needs to go to Ferncliff. Now that kind of stuff I love reading, by the way, because it's like, great, they're picking up on our clues. Same thing
Probably
with
because we want to guess. We like to guess, right? We're all like, we're like armchair quarterbacks of what the story should be.
We did the exact same thing with Avery with the whole pregnancy.
With Avery's thing, I was like, oh, that pregnancy, right? It was like,
we did the same thing. I'm like, we're going to make you pregnant, whether the writers know it yet or not. Your intention is to get pregnant. It was a Thanksgiving dinner with all the Cassadine men, with Charles and Nicholas and, Marcus. I'm like, you're just going to look at the table and go, I'm going to be pregnant by one of these guys by next week, so I can get my hooks in. So we just came up with that on our own, and then sure enough, we're like, we get the script and we die with laughter. It's so fun. It's like waiting for an episode of a show to drop,
Avery, I wanted to ask you about working with the amazing John Lindstrom as your dad. And wasn't it such a stroke of genius that they made her the daughter of Ryan Chamberlain? Like, it couldn't have been more perfect, right? So what did you think of that moment and then being connected to John in the story?
I'm just going to start out with John Lindstrom is one of my favorite humans I've ever met. I love him dearly. I have him over for dinner all the time. Like, he's such a great human, and so smart and so funny and very witty and just overall a good dude. And in terms of finding out I was Ryan Chamberlain's daughter, we all got to set, or actually I'll back up a little bit. Holly and I got a set of sides and we were both like, this guy has to be my dad, right? But we didn't have an answer yet. So I got to work that day and oh my goodness, I can't remember if it was Fido or Gary, but one of the two was directing that day. And I walked up during rehearsal and I was like, look, is Ryan my dad? And they're like, I don't know if I can tell you that.
It's like straight out of a soap opera, by the way. Is he my father? I don't know if I can tell you.
Be right back. Runs upstairs, asks producers if he can tell me or not, comes back down, like knocks on my dressing room door and is like, yes, it's your dad. Okay, ready, go. And then it was like, okay, right. Holly told me if this is this, then I'll do that. And then if it's not, then I'll do this. And okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, go. that was how I found out. But I was very excited. It gave me way more freedom to just, I was going to use a phrase that wasn't appropriate. Just really have a fun time and throw all caution to the wind. There we go.
Was there one point of Esme's story? I mean, she took things so extreme, but was there one point where you're like, I can't believe how bad that, like, she's doing this? Like, and then how did you guys you and Holly justify that action? I guess to your point, the person doesn't really understand they're bad. They're just, or maybe she
Desperate.
Desperate.
Esme was desperate. And we kind of set that up pretty early on when we were trying to figure out your upbringing. We knew she went to school with Spencer and, you know, came up with a whole history.
I don't think there was ever, this is going to sound really bad. I don't think there was ever a time where I read a script and was like, I can't justify this. In that, like, I get to read it from Esme's perspective. I'm not like outside looking in with it. Like, I get to really put myself in those shoes and go, okay, like in this scenario, based on these plot points, like what do I have to do in order to get from point A to point B? And like Holly was always really great at coming up with little schemes to get from one place to the next.
It's
but
so fun.
I just have to see how horribly Esme behaves sometimes, but I think truly from like a crafting perspective, I can't judge her.
No, you can't ever judge the character. It's like I'm the Wizard of Oz behind the curtain and I'm just pulling all the strings. And then I have these like insanely talented people, you know, getting to, and then I really have fun watching where they took it, you know?
I just want to go back to this because he's asking, I would love to know what scenes Avery submitted or Emmy reel. We did talk about that earlier. Can you just say again, just for those that joined?
Of course. Yeah. Most of my reel was from the episode where I find out that Spencer gave my baby away. So that was the bulk of it. And then some from my final episode as well, where I was like, this trigger warning, I will kill myself if you don't get me my baby. That was
such good scenes.
Those are good. Those are good scenes.
Such great scenes.
Such great scenes. Okay, Kaitlyn.
Yes.
Rory Gibson. Rory Gibson and little Wiley. But
that little boy is so good.
Well, at first I wasn't sure, but now I am.
Yeah.
At first I wasn't sure, but recently I was sold.
Oh. Viren is incredible.
Yeah.
Honestly, since I mean, I've been working with him for a few years now. I've always thought, I was like, you're better at this than me. Like, you're just better. Like, you're just, every time I work with him, I'm like, you're just so good. Like, you don't even have to try. You're just so amazing. But, yeah, he breaks my heart. I love Viren so much. It's almost hard to put into words because it's like, I don't know. I've like been his mom now for a few years, and I love his mom and I love him, and he blows me away. Like he's so free and smart and interesting and talented, and I just could say a million things about Vera, and I love him so much.
There's so many people like him, DG, saying Rory Gibson is one of the best recasts since the greats like Leslie Charles and Jeannie Prince.
Rory is amazing. Yes, he's like.
And I want to agree. I have to say, yes, I agree wholeheartedly. And you, Kaitlyn, are obviously in numerous scenes with him. And how has it been from the get-go with him?
Yeah, he's incredible. You know, I've been blessed now with two amazing Michaels, and Rory has just been incredible. He stepped in, and he filled in every relationship imaginable. Like he showed up on day one, and I was like, "You're Michael. Like you're just Michael. You filled it all in. He's so kind. He's so lovely. He's so in it." And I really thoroughly enjoy working with him, and I can't say enough genuinely great things about Rory. I think he's an incredible person.
So in my interview with Rory, he said as I think you may have seen, I said, so do you think Willow and Michael ultimately deeply love each other? And as this twisted tale unspools, they're eventually going to find their way back together. And he said it's a very real possibility that down the line, because I think do you guys play the love in the scene? And that's also to Holly. A lot of actors, when I talk to them, say they'll play into a scene the sex in it or the connection in it that's not necessarily written, or they want to cue in the producers like, I want to work with that guy. So they'll try to, without it being written on the page, there's little things they do. I don't know if that's what you guys do.
Yeah, I feel like we'll definitely be like, especially given the script, it might be like, this is where your love for this person really comes through, or like, this is where, even though you're not together, you're gonna do this as if you're married right now, because that's just what this kind of scene needs. And it's so much fun to play into that, because I think it's like it's a soap opera thing, right? Like, because it's open-ended and anything can happen, it's so much more fun if we kind of play into the love possibilities at all times, because then anything can happen. And so Holly's always talked about, if you're in a scene with someone that you've had a relationship with or whatever, like, it's gonna be there, and it has to be there.
Daytime TV.
Yeah,
it has
exactly.
to be there. Like, the fans want, there's a reason why you get into a soap, and you want to give the fans what they want. They're faithful. They want to get behind people. They love to hate people. And so you want to give them what they want. It's not like NCIS, right? It's a totally different genre.
There's a question here for the ladies. Katelyn, Avery, I'm so curious to know what acting tools you use, especially when a scene requires a tough emotion. How do you get there? You're both fab and so natural. How do you get there? So is there something that's like, what do you guys do? Do you call her Holly?
Step one.
Step one, Holly.
Step two, I mean, as long as you're not in a scene by yourself, a lot of it just gets to come off of your partner, whether it's frustration, anger, joy, sadness. Like, you get to watch your partner or partners in a scene and really get to live moment to moment, and it's kind of done for you in a way. Like, you have your prep, but as soon as you get up there, you get to let it all go and just see what kind of ride you're going to go on with your scene partners. There were definitely several times where I think it was mostly the time where I was locked in the tower, where I got myself and my fake pregnancy belly, and I've got to relate somehow.
It went on forever. You was stuck in there forever.
That Christmas tree.
So fun.
I was like, I will light this Christmas tree on fire to get out of here, personally, as Avery. No, but that one you go,
oh my God,
I gotta get some real prep going on here and get on there. And it's like, once again, it's like no judgment. It's, if I was personally trapped in a tower for however many months, I would also lose my mind. So it's a mix between prep and your partner. And a long-winded answer. Sorry.
That's a good. I was going to say that's a good answer.
Super talented.
That's a good answer.
Katelyn, is there any cast member that you haven't had a chance to work with yet that you were just dying to get a storyline with?
Ooh.
She's pretty busy in her storyline right now, but
I mean, there's so many. Like, it's so interesting how it almost, like, a lot of us will talk about how it almost feels like we're all a part of the same universe, but depending on what storyline you're in, you're kind of only seeing like a certain amount of the cast, like, on a daily basis. So there are, like, I mean, I'm obsessed with Jane Elliott, and we've had some scenes together, but I would
She's so good.
She's amazing. I mean, Jeannie, I don't think I've maybe had like a couple lines with Jeannie, but she's phenomenal. And I was thinking about Finola too. I mean, there's so many. I'm like, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, I want one with, any.
But there was a period there where Katie would be at the hospital, and literally every person in Port Charles was coming to bag on her about Drew.
Oh,
And
should
I'm
we
like,
hear in the nurse's station?
yeah, this poor girl has a job, and they're all showing up at her work to just badger her about this guy she's seeing. I was like, everyone was like, got the memo. Willow's at work. Let's go tell her off. It was so funny.
I love it. I love it.
Okay, so is there a time with either Kaitlyn or Avery, like have you had just a complete panic that you had? I know you're calling Holly, but was there a moment when it was just like, oh, I got a brain freeze, I can't figure this out, I gotta call, like, have you had that moment? Like,
I have those moments all the time. But yeah, just I'm getting like, I think the more you do it, the more you're like, okay, this is maybe just part of trying to get something in your body, you know, like you look at it quite a few times and then you have to just let it go and trust that it's going to be there. But I'm trying to think of a specific moment. I just know that there was certainly a day where I called Holly and I was like, I feel nothing. Like
I
feel
almost went to the
nothing.
studio. I was like a mom when the kid calls. I almost drove to the studio. Okay, one of my girls needs me. I'm so protective, but you know, Michael, the thing is, whenever you interview these actors, they're so effortless, they're connected, they're lovely people. But at the end of the day, this is a really stressful job. Really stressful.
That's where I'm
you
going.
You have to look good. You have to show up. You have to know your stuff. You have network watching. There's money at stake. There's storyline at stake. And you have a job at stake. And you're doing so much in one day, the amount of work. It is so stressful. And some of these, you know, you look at someone like Jeannie and Finola and, you know, Jane Elliott, Cynthia. I go to the set and they're just effortless. But they've also been they're consummate pros. They've been at it a long time. But you know, when you're a little newer to the canvas, which 6 years is still new to the canvas in comparison to 30 or 40, and it is insanely stressful, wildly stressful. I didn't have anyone to call. I would talk to Robin sometimes, but I was worried. I thought, I've got to look like I'm going to fake it till I make it. And, you know, I just want to be sure that any actor I work with on any job never feels like they don't have like a safety net.
Yeah.
Which is always terrible when you're a creative person and you don't have, like, you want to create and do your best work. And then there's all this other gunk going on that you have to, like, and I'm the same way with what I do too. Like, there's all this other gunk and I'm trying to be creative and do my stuff. Like, how do I get to that and not have all this going on, you know, in my mind, which I think is why we have a Holly, I guess.
Yeah.
Right.
And then there's the crazy pressure to look good and feel good. And the hours are crazy. And then you're memorizing all night and all weekend. So you get run down. A lot of times they're working. The audience can't really tell that they're sick. And, you know, sometimes they can tell. They'll say, oh, so-and-so looked like this or like that. Well, the person was sick that day, you know. So all the behind the scenes stuff that goes on, it's kind of crazy.
So, Avery, did you have a favorite scene of your entire time on G? Like, what was the one that you're like, I just loved this?
Oh, that's such a hard question.
Because I just think you have such juicy scenes. I'm like, what would we pick for you? But what did you like?
Honestly,
First
thing that popped into my mind was there was a dream sequence of Spencer's, and I just got to be horrible, and it was so fun. I had a great time. I loved working with the babies too. That was always a good time. I was like, oh, I get paid to hold a baby today. This is great.
You're not worried about the baby like giving you a problem?
No.
Okay.
No, Joey and Jay were like beautiful little.
They were great. They were the cutest. Yeah.
And their parents are really cool and very sweet, and also some of the most like impressive humans I've ever met in my life. Like marathoners, a bunch of dogs, twin babies at home, working, running their own businesses, and also getting their kids to work as well. I was like, you're super parents. I don't know how you guys do it, but I think also another favorite scene was, or just episode in general was my last one. I think there was a sense of freedom in play where I was like, I'm going to go out with a bang. And it was fun to work with Nick and Tabby and do our like fight choreography and stuff like that. We got there at like 4:45 in the morning and just rehearsed the choreography day of and got to do it. And I felt very privileged that I got to like do my own little stunts and stuff. So it was really fun. I had a great time.
Amazing. Kaitlyn, don't tell us, have we seen your, like, has your favorite scene aired yet that you've done? Is it coming?
My favorite. I'm trying to think of my favorite. Oh, my favorite.
A top one or two.
Ooh. What is? I mean, it's really hard for me to pick. I'm not like it's so hard for me to pick favorites because I feel like everything has its own, like. But that's what's cool about a dream sequence is I feel like you're experiencing like a a whole realm of things in one scene. But it's probably aired. I don't know for sure though. I don't want to give anything away. But
I loved when you I loved when you found out. Remember when you found out that Wiley wasn't your baby, or that your baby had died? It was with John.
Oh, back.
Yeah.
Yeah, those were incredible scenes.
Yeah.
And I actually thought Avery had phenomenal scenes with Maura West. Like some of those scenes with her when she found the letter, those were phenomenal. Like a lot of the scenes do pop out for me, even though they were quite some time ago.
No, those were very fun. And Maura's so fun to work with. She's so talented and she's so interesting and she makes very bold choices. And yeah, that's really fun.
Kaitlyn, what about the amazing Cynthia Watros as your mom? I mean, she killed it in the last few episodes as well.
So good.
Can you talk to me about working with her, and what about the scene where she literally stares in her mother and she's like, didn't she say she wishes she was happy for Nell, happy for Nell that she's dead? Yeah. What was that scene like? Because that was like, I thought that was fantastic.
Thank you. Working with Cynthia is a privilege, honestly. She's so kind and talented and beyond caring on a personal and professional level. She kind of just goes above and beyond for, I think a lot of people would say, like, when you're on set with her, she just makes you feel seen. She makes you feel seen and heard and understood. And then on top of that, she's so prepared. I don't think I've ever seen her like holding a script. She's just so prepared and so in it that for me, it's like if I know I have crazy scenes and it's opposite her, then I'm like, okay, well, she's gonna help pull stuff out of me that I know she's gonna do that because she's such a powerful actor and she's so lovely. I could cry thinking about her.
I was just going to ask you, do you want Willow to go completely bonkers? Do you want her to get redeemed, like have a redemption? That's all together. Holly wants to go bonkers. Really, do you want her to split into multiple personalities? Like, what do you, as Kaitlyn, want to have happen? We're seeing where we are right now, where she's got looking Looney Tunes.
The fans keep writing Ferncliff, Raccoon Eyes, Ferncliff.
Ferncliff, keep writing Ferncliff.
Great.
It's weird. I generally sometimes I'll imagine where a story's going if I'm getting like in a daydream and I'm like, oh, that'd be so cool. But honestly, what the writers have been doing, I think is so much better than anything I could come up with. That I'm kind of just excited to see where they take it. I guess I think it would be really cool to see this through and have Willow like go completely crazy, because that's kind of where it seems it's going. So I feel like we should just go all the way.
And then get healthy again, right? Get mental health, which is a great storyline.
Yeah.
A lot of people have things happen in their life and they go down a really bad lane and then have to recover.
Well, that's
Yeah.
so true of real life. People, right? People literally could go there, like have a down or a break or whatever, and have to work it and come back.
Totally.
You know, I think that the show, even in the last few years, I just, you know, I came up in daytime in the 80s, and I used to watch shows with my mom and grandma, obviously, and like the drama was big drama. Like you had David Canary, and you know, you had these incredible, insane actors, and I feel like the tide is turning back to those big storylines with huge outbursts, and it was dramatic back then, and I'm seeing that. Like, I think Avery really brought that to the canvas, and now all this stuff with Drew and Willow and Cynthia, and today I was watching, I was like, I feel like I'm back in the 80s in old school daytime TV.
It felt a very old, it felt a soapy old school, but in a way of like,
and like, you know, Dynasty and Knots Landing and all those shows, you know.
Here's much love and blessings from the Bahamas. Excellent acting. I've been a GH viewer and fan for 40 years. I feel that when you love to hate a character, that's when you know you're doing a phenomenal job. Would you agree? Yeah.
I mean, I know that there's shows I watch where I'm like, there's certain characters that you love to hate. Like, no matter what the story is, I don't know. I think every role has its purpose, and I think that like it helps tell the story that you're trying to tell, and that's well,
great. I was hating Esme. I was throwing things, but then I was like, really love Avery Pohl in this role, and I was like, oh, please don't get rid of her. She's so good at being bad, right? So it's kind of like you're torn, like, oh, she's doing terrible things, but I don't want to get rid of that actress because she's really good, right?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I mean, just to sort of echo what Katie says, like, you know, each character is there to serve a purpose, and some get to move the story forward, some get to push, and others get to sort of be done too, right? So I think as far as like what Esme got to do for story purposes, it was fantastic. Like, you got to sort of shove the needle in whichever direction it needed to go. Yeah. And as an actor, like, I got to have a blast doing it. So
that both play mentally disturbed well, and Cynthia Watros both crazy as well, and you have both played 16 and 17-year-old. Let's see, does that make sense? I think so.
Well, that's nice.
You both played
mentally disturbed well.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
But you know, in life, haven't we had those moments where we're like, I'm losing it today with like,
I think I had that 5 times today.
Right? We've all had those moments, and that's what's so fun about like these storylines, you know, that these young gals get to play, and all these actors, you get to, like, there's no therapy necessary. You have a place where you get paid to unleash, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Has there ever been a client, Erin, has there ever been somebody you've said, I don't say who, but have you ever been like, I can't make this work for them. They just can't do it.
I have had moments even with Katie and Avery where I'll get a script and I'll be like, usually we're kind of a step ahead with what we've thought of. But I have had moments where I've had to go, okay, that's why I always try and read the stuff ahead of time whenever a client sends me anything, because there are some things, especially in film and television, that are like supernatural or sci-fi, and you have to it's a different ball game. My heart is really with daytime, but there are times where I've had to really give thought to how to justify something. In Katie's case with the kids, it was like, people kept saying, well, leave Drew and you get to keep your kids, which in what world? I mean, there are people that are have horrible significant others and they still get joint custody, right? And even though the person's a druggie or whatever. So, you know, we had to just make her someone who was so vulnerable to a predator or someone. Even Cameron doesn't think he's a predator. He's one of those guys who's a controlling guy. So in his mind, he's not a predator. But to make it work, sometimes we had moments where we really had to kind of stop, eat. It's like, okay, I need to get a snack. maybe this is a blood sugar thing, but yeah. I almost have to, like, there's something else that comes in, and Avery touched on it, which is you have to look at it through the eyes of the character and you can't judge it from a sensible place. You know, and that's what's funny about the fans, because they're sensible and they're looking at people going, what are you doing? But that's the thing. They're not in a sensible place. So you can't look at it through your own eyes. You have to put yourself in that imaginary world and go, okay, wait, why would I be doing this? And then once you figure that out, it's actually very easy. But yeah, there have been moments, but I have never had to say I can't, but I have had to take a minute and really reevaluate things, you know.
Kaitlyn, there's been so much speculation by the fans that Drew is actually Shiloh. So many of us believe, and we're all hoping that's because we can't figure out why Drew became such a monster, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, what would you think if Shiloh was actually back? What do you think that would do to the story? And how would Willow feel if she found this out? She would she really split into 5 personalities at that point.
Yeah. Well, that's a really fun theory. First of all, I think that'd be really interesting. And second, I guess if Willow found that out, given their history, I can't imagine. Like, I actually can't imagine it. Like, could you imagine if you found out the person you were dating was in fact, you know, this
the dawn of
crazy
day
person from your past? Yeah, I mean, that would be, oh my gosh, that would be insane. That would be so insane. I'm already getting mad for her.
We have our theories, right? We sit and we wonder. I've got lots of theories. I would love for him to just pull off one of those things and it be Shiloh. I just think it would be spectacular. But then everyone's thinking, oh, that's so obvious. But maybe since everyone thinks it's so obvious, you do it because no one thinks it's really going to happen.
You know, there's a thing and I equate pro wrestling with soap operas in a way. It's a continuing story but told in the ring. And, you know, sometimes the fans like, oh, this guy's going to turn heel. He's going to turn bad. But maybe they're not. But if they tell you they're doing it, they usually do it.
Yeah.
Do you work with pro wrestlers too,
yes,
Holly? Can you tell me about that?
I work with everybody. I work with wrestlers. I work with athletes. I work with some big lawyers on their closing arguments, you know, because so at the end of the day, even in a court of law, who's the most convincing at the end of the day? It's almost as if facts don't matter. You know, if something is really, to me, unethical, I won't coach them on it. I really have to, but usually it's people that have a pretty clean cut case, but sometimes the lawyer is almost a little maybe abrasive, and it's like the information you have is so true, but the way you're giving it is so mean and nasty. Maybe just ease up a little bit, let the jury like relax and hear the facts. So yeah, I work with not just actors, and then I work with a lot of athletes who are auditioning for like Juliana Pena and Ronda Rousey and Pavel Kozlov, who goes by Victor Romanov in the wrestling world. I work with a lot of people. Yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. All right. I thank the 3 of you so much for being here today. This was really, really a lot of fun and enlightening, I hope, for everybody.
And just to clarify, we love the fans. I love the fans. Just be nice to my girls. That's all I'm asking.
I think we're all like at this point beyond impressed with Katelyn MacMullen. I think she's right. Like it's so interesting because it must be interesting, Katelyn, when you come on and you're playing the good girl. See,
Yeah.
I don't know. I would think it's harder to play the good girl because you're just kind of like, how do I make these bland good girl things work?
Well, for years they called her Weeping Willow, and I was like,
know.
okay, I've read too many Weeping Willow comments. I'm getting you out of this zone. And I think maybe we went a little too far the other way.
Now look what you've done.
Look at I'm like Frankenstein. I've created a monster.
Well, both of you, Kaitlyn, Ivy, congratulations. Just beautiful, beautiful work. I'm so impressed by everything. Avery, I loved your work. I hope one day we'll see you back, and I can't wait to see what you do next, and I'll see you at the Emmys. And Kaitlyn, it's just been amazing. I knew you'd blow it like out of the water, but these last several days have just been incredible, as everybody here is saying. You should be very, 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 very proud. Seriously.
And the best part of all is you're not going to meet two more lovelier young women. And I mean, they are lovely human beings.
You're lovely.
You're lovely, Holly.
Yeah, thank you. And like honestly, I think we talked about this before logging on, but yeah, it's like like this storyline obviously with Holly's help genuinely, because it's like sometimes it's like it feels weird to take any sort of, because I'm like, yes, we're doing these things, but it is such a collaboration, you know, and there's so many things that go into it for it to kind of happen. And if it works, then it works, and that's great. But it's like there's so many moving parts, and I feel really grateful for this storyline and for the, you know, everything that's been going on. It's been so fun. And Holly, thank you for your
And I know I speak for both of you when I give a huge shout out to Frank Valentini. I mean, man, he has a hard job, and he's really another incredibly lovely person.
Absolutely. We're very, very lucky.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Have a great rest of your week. All right. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.